in this video, I'm going to show you how to set up Brother's CS6000I sewing machine so that you can avoid that frustration of reading through the menu because it took me forever to figure this out. So I hope this video will be helpful for you. In order to get this sewing machine running, in terms of the threading part, we're going to need to set up two parts. The first part is the bottom bobby. We need to set up a bobby thread. And then the second part is the top portion. So let's go ahead and start out with the first part, which is thread the bobby. You will need an empty bobby like this one and then the thread. We are going to follow the printed instruction on the machine, the one with the black background. First, put the thread right here. Then take one thread and loop it around the circle. You are kind of looping it, making like a little X when you bring it over. I will redo it and show you the close-up view of this step. Once you have the thread over, go ahead and leave it there. Now we are going to take the empty bobby. When you are putting your bobby down, make sure that the square section matches the middle part of this part right here. You will hear a click sound once you know that it's set in there properly. Now go ahead and push this toward the right side. With the loose thread that we have, go ahead and bring it over and make several loops around the empty bobby. You want to make several loops so that it actually stays there. If you only make one or two loops, it's not going to be as stable, so that it might just be circling, not really bringing in the thread. Then you can use the little built-in cutter and cut the thread off. Here's the little cutter that I was talking about. Go ahead and turn on the machine. I have my machine set up using a pedal, so I'll be using the pedal to do the threading. And this is the cool part. I really like this. I think it's really fun to watch. You will know that it's kind of full if it's starting to get slow. So go ahead and just remove it before it reaches that point, or just get as much thread as you need. Once you are done with this part, take out the bobby. Make sure you push to the left first before you take it out. This is what it should look like once it's done. Just for safety purpose, I prefer to turn the machine off when I'm doing the other part, just in case I accidentally press something there. So I highly recommend that you turn it off before you continue this part. Now we are going to use the bobby and pull it inside the lower compartment. Push this thing right here to the right side and it will pop up the lid. Remove the lid and then go ahead and put the threading according to that little label right there. And the key part for this one is make sure that the thread follows the arrows right there. Once it reaches the end point, go ahead and cut it off using the little cutter right there. Once it's all set, make sure you put the lid back on. Alright, now we are ready for the top section. With the top section, this time we are going to follow the instruction, the print on the instruction without the black background. So we are going to bring this over through the step 1, that little mellow section, and go down to step 2, 3, 4, 5. This is the overview of this step. So let's go ahead and do this step by step. The first step is to loop it around the mellow section. This time we are putting it in a slight different location compared to the first time. We are going to bring it under that little hook right here. Bring one side of the thread over and then kind of bring it from the top and move it over and bring it toward you. When you're doing this part, you want to make sure that it kind of hooks around that little angle area of this mellow section. So you want to bring it under and then bring it over to where what number 2 is. Now I'm doing the same step from a different angle so you can have a better look. And take the thread, follow number 2, and bring it over to number 3. When you're bringing the thread over from number 2 to number 3, it will automatically get onto that little hook right here. This way it stays there. Now bring it over to number 4. Number 4 has a little built-in metal, kind of like a separator, or maybe like a little holder to make sure your thread stays there. So first time when you're bringing over from 3 to 4, make sure the thread stays on the right side, leaning against number 3. And once you have it all the way up, bring it to number 4 so that it kind of hooks around the metal area. Now you bring it down to number 5. After your thread passes number 5, what you want to do now is bring the wire behind this needle. There should be a little hook that you need to bring the needle over behind it, like so. Once you do that, take the thread and bring it over to the left side. And while holding the thread, bring down this one right here. There's a little like a triangle shape, like a hook, like kind of like upside down V. And you want to bring your thread underneath it so that it stays in there. Now push this one down gently until it reaches the point where the needle hole is. When you bring it all the way down, you will notice that the 2 hooks will embrace that needle hole area. Now this part is where you want to be very careful. When you push all the way down, bring your thread over and kind of like pointing it down. Make sure that when it gets to the hook area, that it's staying on the bottom part. Once it gets inside those hooks safely, now you want to bring it up. The reason you want to do that because there's tiny needle there. So you want to bring it in to make sure that it lives inside the hooks. And then when you bring it up, you make sure that it's in a really good position for that tiny needle to pull it over to go through that little hole. I'm going to do this one more time so you can take a really good look at it. So first bring the thread behind the little hook. And now bring down the little device and hook over the upside down V, bring it over, holding it slightly tight, bring down the device even further, and now bring the thread underneath the 2 hooks, and then bring it up once you are fully secure so that little needle gets a hand of the thread. And now slowly release it. You want to also go a little bit lighter on the thread. And then just bring the rest of the thread over. Once you bring over the rest of the thread, go ahead and take it and go under that little hook right here so that it goes underneath it. Now you are all set. Okay, now we are ready to do the testing. Take out a piece of fabric, put it underneath this area, bring down the presser foot lever, turn your machine on, and you are ready to go. Once you are done and the needle is now up, you can press the needle lifter, which will bring up the needle. And then undo the presser foot lever. You can now pull out your fabric. On this side, there's a little cutter you can use to cut off your thread. You can either go from the front or go from the back. This is what the testing product looks like. I hope this video has been helpful. Thank you so much for watching.